各位与会的贵宾，早安！欢迎大家参加新媒体暨影视音发展协会 NMEA 举办的2024亚洲新媒体高峰会 Asia Hub New Media Summit。今年我们以 CONSOLIDATION 融合共融新生作为主题，围绕4大项目，包括科技赋能、创新商模、产业合作以及永续布局，集结了超过60位国内外重量级的产官学领袖以及专家，高度浓缩内容产业的精华趋势，剖析新媒体产业的未来发展。今天是活动的第2天，昨天我们讨论了台湾以及国际的趋势 ，AI 科技对新媒体产业带来的影响，也透过城市的角度。台流以及台湾原创影集沉浸式互动切入，窥见影视音文化永续多元发展的可能。今天我们也准备了非常多丰富精彩的内容要带给大家。首先，我们要带领大家一同来进一步了解2024亚洲串流市场的纵观。我们很荣幸可以邀请到 Mr. Adrian Tong。He's a senior analyst from Media Partners Asia。他会透过影片的方式来跟大家做最新串流趋势市场的分析，请看大荧幕。
Hello everyone, I'm Adrian Tong, senior analyst for Media Partners Asia. It's good to be here again at the 2024 Asia Hub New Media Summit. I would like to thank the organizer NMEA for having me again. Today, I would like to share with you some exciting research updates on the video industry in Asia Pacific, as well as some latest findings on content trends, especially the growing demand on Asian content that continues to drive investments in the region.
So let's start with an overview of the video landscape here in Asia. On this slide, we capture 5-year growth projections on video industry revenue by key markets. Broadly speaking, macro demographics, economic growth, and per capita incomes are shaping monetization models that are affecting video industry growth across different markets. On this chart, we can see that India is the fastest growing video market at 6.2% CAGR. Key Southeast Asia markets, Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand, will also have fairly robust growth above 3%. India and Southeast Asia are high-growth, low GDP per capita economies with a young population. These emerging economies are expanding premium total addressable markets and increasingly monetizing through subscriptions and premium advertising, especially on emerging mediums like connected TV and retail media. On the other hand, video industry growth is slowing in maturing economies like Korea, Australia, and Hong Kong that average 2.4 to 2.6% annual growth over the next 5 years. Taiwan, Japan, and China will remain the slowest growing, below 2%. All these maturing economies are traditionally high subscription markets with a more established digital infrastructure and an aging population. Increasingly, in these markets, there's a push to introduce advertising tiers to drive deeper streaming video penetration. In terms of video monetization, it will continue to shift online across all markets. Over the next 5 years, online video, which comprises of subscription VOD or SVOD, premium AVOD, and UGC social, will continue to expand market share over TV, which includes free-to-air and pay TV. Australasia will grow industry revenue at 2.5% CAGR to $12.6 billion by 2029, driven by SVOD platforms Netflix, Disney+, Stan, Binge, Paramount+, and other broadcaster VOD services. India will be the fastest growing at 6.2% CAGR, with industry revenue topping $17 billion. Pay TV remains the largest revenue pool and will account for 51% share in 2029, down from 62% share. Online video will expand share across UGC and premium AVOD, while SVOD will also grow. Japan's video market will remain sizable at 32 billion in 2029, growing at 1.3% CAGR from 30 billion in 2024. The free-to-air ad market size is large in Japan, but the share will contract to 39%, down from 42% in 2024. Korea will expand 2.6% CAGR to 13 billion. Telcos still dominate video distribution in Korea, but IPTV growth is slowing, with intense competition from SVOD, while cord-cutting accelerates on DTH and cable TV. Southeast Asia will grow 3.4% CAGR to 12.3 billion in 2029. TV distribution and advertising share are declining across all key markets in Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam. Video industry in Taiwan and Hong Kong combined will expand 1.9% CAGR to 4.6 billion. Pay TV will remain the largest segment to retain 45% share, but will lose incremental share to online video. So on the next slide, we take a look at the video advertising revenue, and unsurprisingly, advertising on linear TV will decline across all key markets except India. But in terms of market share, even in India, TV share of video advertising will drop to 45% by 2029. UGC Social will continue to expand share of video advertising across all key markets. Generally, YouTube is the largest video platform driving the UGC segment in all these markets, excluding China. Meta and TikTok will also have a strong presence in the region. And for TikTok, obviously it excludes India. Premium AVOD will continue to drive premium video category expansion in the region, and we see this trend resonate more profoundly in Australia, Japan, and Korea. In Australia, premium AVOD expansion will be driven by broadcaster VOD platforms under 9 broadcasting, 7 networks, and 10 networks, which is now under Paramount. In Japan, premium AVOD will be driven by TVer, which is jointly owned and operated by the 5 terrestrial networks in Japan, and is projected to be the fastest growing vertical with 13% CAGR. Ad-supported tiers from Netflix and potentially on Amazon Prime Video and Disney Plus are also expected to contribute. In Korea, AVOD tiers on TVing and Netflix will help drive future growth in premium AVOD. In terms of subscription revenue, online VOD is taking over consumer wallet in Southeast Asia, Japan, and Australia. It's been going on for some time. In Indonesia, where pay TV is relatively subscale, SVOD is growing steadily and will increase share to 72% by 2029. SVOD in India is growing significantly up to 28% share. In Hong Kong, where PCCW's Now TV is now the only pay TV operator after iCable's exit, online video and pay TV share will reach 50-50 by 2029. In Korea, VOD consumer wallet share will approach 30% share, driven by Netflix, TVing, Coupon Play, Wave, and Disney Plus. Astro remains the dominant pay TV operator in Malaysia, but struggles to grow. Overall, SVOD will take over 28% share of the consumer wallet in that market. SVOD's share in Philippines will move toward 49% and in Thailand toward 73% share. Key local streamers and multi-territory streaming platforms in Asia are expanding scale, but to do so requires capital and investment, especially on content, to power future growth. On this slide, I have highlighted a few key transaction deals in the region over the past 2 years. This year in India, the merger between Star India and Viacom18 was one of the biggest in the region, with a valuation of 8.5 billion. The combined entity revenue reached almost 2.8 billion. Canal Plus invested a minority stake in PCCW's multi-territory streaming platform Viu at a valuation of $1.2 billion. In Japan, Unext's full acquisition of Paravi was valued at $1.9 billion, and that enables Unext to grow rapidly to become the top local streamer in Japan after Amazon Prime and Netflix in the country. In Korea, CJ's TVing fully acquired KT's season by end 2022. Post-consolidation, TVing quickly scaled up to become the second largest streaming platform in Korea after Netflix. TVing is committed to complete a merger with Wave later in the year, with both sides in active discussions. A potential deal is expected to materialize with CJ emerging as the majority shareholder. The combined entity, if realized, will create a strong competitor to Netflix with improved synergies. As the streaming market evolves, key platforms in the region are readjusting their offerings and pricing. Price increases are becoming prevalent in the region, as well as more and more advertising is being introduced on SVOD platforms, including Netflix, which introduced their ad tiers, Prime Video as well in Australia, TVing in Korea earlier in the year, which introduced their ad tier. And also we see multiple streamers in China raising prices, including iQIYI and Tencent Video, Sony in India as well, and Disney in multiple markets. Disney is phasing out discounted partner pricing, and its pricing will eventually match closer to Netflix. Moving on to content, based on our research from AMT, which is a brand under NPA, global demand for Asian content remains strong, with 1.4 billion active unique users worldwide, consuming 13.9 billion hours of Asian content in 2023. This is equivalent to a global average of 9.9 hours per user. Outside of Asia, North America and Latin America lead Asian content demand, driven by Korean, Japanese, and Chinese content, as well as popular global co-productions. Key platforms driving demand are Netflix, Disney, Hulu, Amazon, Apple, and FAST channel networks. Among global platforms, Netflix continues to lead investment in Asian content, while Amazon's investment in Japanese anime has been a success globally. Disney is active investor in high-budget Korean dramas, and its Asian co-productions are having strong resonance. Other regional streamers, such as Viu, FAST channel networks, Warner Brother Discovery with the launch of Max in the region this year, are also active in Asian content acquisitions and co-productions. So on this slide, we have a closer look at what kinds of Asian content are driving viewership as well as customer acquisition on premium VOD platforms within Asia. On the left, we break down the total hours spent streaming across Asia, excluding China and India. And on the right, a breakdown of what new or returning premium VOD customers are watching, for example, what drives acquisition. In both engagement and acquisition, Korean originating content remains a key force. Korean dramas across genres, as well as some unscripted and variety, travels across Southeast Asia through platforms like Netflix and Viu, and command over 70% of engagement domestically. In 2024, dramas like Lovely Runner and Queen of Tears top viewership across the region. Japanese content is another major Asian category, led by anime. US content retains importance in engagement, especially on major SVOD services. Chinese content is on the rise in Southeast Asia, driven by players like WeTV and iQIYI, but also increasingly licensing of Chinese language dramas by Viu and Netflix. Southeast Asian content over-indexes in acquisition and remains a popular driver of customer growth. So on the next slide, we show in greater details the consumption and first title viewership by market in terms of content country origin based on our measurement panels from AMD, which is once again a brand under NMEA. In India, Japan, and Korea, local content drives engagement and acquisition on premium VOD. In India, local content drives 90% of engagement with local sports, especially IPL, local movies, dramas, and variety across all major streamers. In Japan and Korea, local content is king across engagement and acquisition, with all major streamers offering local dramas, anime, and originals. Korean entertainment remains popular at 78% of viewership at home in Korea and travels well across Southeast Asia and Taiwan, accounting for a respective 31% and 33% share of engagement. In Japan, local Japanese content, including anime, accounts for 74% of premium VOD viewership. Outside of Japan, anime and Japanese shows also travel well in Southeast Asia and in Taiwan at 11 to 12% share. In Southeast Asia, Korean is a major category, but at the same time, you can clearly see the growing impact from Chinese content in markets like Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. Consumers are also starting to pay for Chinese content in these markets, and Chinese dramas have started to drive acquisition. Overall, in Southeast Asia, 16% of engagement goes to Chinese content versus 13% local content and 22% US content. In both Indonesia and Thailand, local content over-indexes among new or returning users, again underscoring the strength that local hits like Private Bodyguard in Indonesia or Emergency Couple in Thailand can have in customer acquisition. In Taiwan, local Taiwanese and Chinese content combined drives 35% viewership, while Korean is also popular, followed by US and Japanese content. In terms of content investment, there's rationalization happening. TV is still leading content investment in most markets, but a lot of the new content creation growth now lies within streaming and online video. Excluding China, Japan, Korea, and India are some of the biggest content spenders in the Asia-Pacific region. In Japan, online video drives content investment that would top $8.9 billion this year, according to our estimates. While free-to-air broadcasters' content budgets will remain stable, led by the top 5 broadcasters, Nippon TV, TV Asahi, TBS, Fuji, and TV Tokyo, free-to-air share of content investment is contracting. Online video spending is growing, with high levels of local content investment being directed towards live action, anime, and sports, led by Netflix, Prime Video, Unext, Abema, Disney+, as well as other platforms. Korean content remains the gold standard of Asian content. After experiencing strong post-COVID growth in 2021 to 22, content spending rationalized in Korea, ending 2023 at $6.6 billion. Free-to-air remains the largest vertical despite contracting 4% during 2023 as broadcasters look to manage profitability with weak advertising performances. Pay TV programming expense was more resilient, and online streaming slowed in growth. Theatrical or movie investment growth was more robust at 10%. Overall, content spend will remain relatively flat in 2024, with declines in traditional television offsetting increases in both streaming and film. In India, content investment is rising and is expected to reach $6 billion this year. Pay TV will remain the largest segment due to increased sports investments, mainly toward the ICC under its renewed cycle. Streaming is expected to be the fastest growing sector, with rising investments driven by sports, commissioned local originals, and movies. Indonesia is Southeast Asia's largest media market. Content spend increased in 2023, with higher streaming spending at Video, Amazon, and Netflix, as well as greater investment in local films. However, with Disney and Amazon scaling back local originals, talent costs for dramas have declined, as did drama production costs, driving some rationalization this year. Thank you for sitting through my presentation. Here's more information about Media Partners Asia, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.
We thank Adrian for his research.